Hey everyone, it's Krystle and welcome back to Heartsprinkle. Today I'm going to show you guys how to do this freeform C2C that I've recently discovered, so I hope you guys enjoy. This level is more for intermediate advanced level because there are certain parts of the tutorial that is a little hard, but once you get it down, it's pretty easy and fun to make. We're using worsted weight yarn and a 4.5mm hook and a pair of scissors, so let's get started. In this tutorial, I am assuming you have basic knowledge of the crochet stitches, and we're going to start with the basic C2C stitch, and then we're going to move on to the freeform C2C. I'm using worsted weight yarn and a 4.5mm crochet hook, but you can use any size yarn and hook that you'd like. Now usually the C2C stitch is started off with 6 chains, but I like to start mine with 5. So we're going to do a slip knot, chain 5. Now we're going to double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. Double crochet into the next, and double crochet into the 3rd. This is what your first block will look like, your C2C block. Normally this is a chain 3, but I like this one to be a chain 2, so my stitches are closer together and the hole is smaller. In my written patterns, it indicates if you are going to increase or decrease in that row. It does not count as the first block, but it just tells you if you need to start that row increasing or decreasing. So now this is for row 1. We are going to do row 2 and we have to increase. So this is what I mean by increase in the next row. We're going to chain 5. Now it looks like how when you first started with the 5 chains, and we're going to double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. And double crochet into the last 2. This is how your second block will look, but we're going to connect it here into this chain space. So we have to turn our first block like this, locate the chain space here, insert your hook, and slip stitch. Since our blocks are modified, we are chaining 2. Now normally you do the chain 3 here. Now we're going to do 3 double crochets. And this right here is row 2. You're increasing because this is what increasing does. It'll just keep going like this. So if you keep increasing on both sides, the sides will just keep growing. Okay? So I am going to do 2 more rows. Since we're increasing, we're going to chain 5. This is what it looks like when you first do your increase block right here. And again, it's like we're turning our work, so we're just flipping this up. And we're always slip stitching into this chain 2 space to connect the blocks. Like so. Now we have chain 2, and we're going to do 3 double crochets again to continue making the next block. Now you have increased, so you added another block. to the next row. I'm going to do one more row. All right, I've made it to the end of the row, and now I'm going to do an increase. This is row 5 now. And then I'll show you guys how I do a color change. There's my increase block. I'm going to make one more block. Okay. Now I'm going to take my new color and make a slip knot. I like to make the knot or the loop with the tail end so that I can pull it to tighten. So before slip stitching into this block, we're going to slip stitch the new color here and then tighten the pink. Now we're going to drop the pink, insert hook into the chain 2 space, and continue making the block like so. Chain 2. Now you can see that this chain of the old color, the pink, you can tighten that. And you can also tighten this first little slip knot you made with the new color. Not too much, not as much as the pink. But if you look at it closely, it looks the same as when you connected it here. So the chaining effect is very similar. And now we're going to continue with the new color and finish this block. I'm going to the end of the row with the blue. Doing that technique looks cleaner to me here. We're going to move on to the next row with another increase row. I'm going to work this teal all the way here. Now, we are switching back to the pink. Here's the blue tail. I like to always keep all my tails and dropping all the colors on the same side, so I'm going to bring it here to the front because that's where the back of my piece is. And then we're going to grab the pink, bring it up to here to the top, because that's where we're trying to pull it through, is this chain 2 space. So we're going to bring it up, put the hook into the chain 2 space, and I'm going to bring the tail of the pink and pull it through like so. This helps secure it to this block so this tail isn't loose. Now I'm going to slip stitch it into the blue, and then I'm going to chain 2. Again, you can pull the blue, the old color, to hide that color change. And then we can continue making the block. This is how your color change looks. I'm going to continue the next row with an increase, and I will show you how I jump the colors so many blocks down. So let's say you're going to continue the pink all the way to here. This is my preferred way of changing color a few blocks up. Now instead of fastening this off right away, I like to keep them on so I don't have to reattach the ball again. And I like to do about like this much for this square. So maybe like 6 inches to sew into this square, and do another 6 inches, so maybe 12 total, and just leave the ball connected instead of fastening off, and do another slip knot and attach as if I'm attaching a new color or ball here. Again, we're gonna do a slip knot, slip stitch it into the pink, tighten the pink, don't forget to drop the tail in the same side, and then we will continue with the blue. I like to make sure that the knot is below the, like the loop right here, the pink loop is above the blue knot, so it's hidden a little bit more before I tighten it. And then I start working the new block, and I can tighten the blue a little bit and tighten the pink as well if I wanted to, just to hide that color change better. I'm going to work the next row with an increase. All right, so here I'm going to switch over to the pink just because I want to show you guys how the other, I guess the other color change would be, because earlier we brought the pink up like this, and this time we're going to bring it across the blue. So whatever you do when you're switching the blocks, you either have to bring it up to bring it to the chain 2 space, or I should say bring it to the side, or up. Okay? So again, I'm going to keep my tails on the same side. Bring the pink through the chain 2 space and slip it into the blue as well. Tighten the blue, chain 2, and start a new block. Now here we have the pink running across the top, and we're just going to crochet over that. You can tighten the blue again. And continue with the pink. So this is what it looks like after you reach the end of the row. These might look funny at first, but that's because the tails are like attached to the same ball still. But here it's a cleaner color change, and once you tuck these strings in, and if you need to hide like these little peeps right there, usually it's just the yarn, like it needs to be spread out and it needs to relax, but sometimes you can use your tail to hide it better as well. So really there's different techniques to make it have an even cleaner change, but I'm pretty satisfied with how this looks. I'm actually going to cut and fasten, or I'm actually going to cut this blue because I'm done showing you guys the color change. And it's okay to just leave that there for a bit, or you know, while you're working the rest of the project until you start tucking strings in. It won't come loose. If it does, you can always tighten it before sewing it in. Now I'm going to show you how to do the decrease block. In my patterns, it indicates when you decrease in that row, and this is what you need to do. So you finish the previous row like so. To decrease, we just turn our work and slip stitch along the tops of these double crochets. Now we're going to make our new block because it's going to go like this. So we're going to do a chain 2 and continue making our new block. 3 double crochets in the chain space. I'm going to continue to the end of this row. In my written pattern, it tells you a certain number of squares you need to make, and then at the end it tells you to slip stitch into the last square. So let's say I only had to make this many squares, and at the end of that row it tells you to slip stitch into the last square. When you look at this last square from the previous row, you'll see the 3 double crochets and the chain 2. I slip stitch into that last chain up here. So there's, if you guys can see, the chains for the double crochets, and then it's like the beginning of the chain 2 right here. That's where I slip stitch. Okay, and I don't slip stitch into the chain 2 space because sometimes I just don't like the way it looks, and it makes it look curved more instead of straight, and that's because it's a chain 2 instead of chain 3. So I slip stitch it into the stitch itself and not the chain 2 space. And then from there it'll tell you if you need to increase the next row or decrease the next row. So if you are increasing the next row, you do the chain 5 up here. Okay, and then make your new block. But if you're decreasing, you again just turn your work, slip stitch the top 3, and then continue making your square. So that's the basic steps of the C2C stitch. I'm going to go to the end of the row with the pink, and then we can start doing the free form, or what helps it become a free form technique. So I'll see you guys at the end of this row. All right, I have reached the end of this row and made my last block. I didn't make it to where I slip stitch into the last square, so I just pretended I needed to continue and make another square. This is one of the techniques used for the free form C2C. I call it the add-on block because you add on more blocks here. You normally can't because there's nothing you can work up on, but the add-on block is going to make that happen for you guys to where you can continue making the diagonal. So what we're going to do is chain 3 and foundationless double crochets. That is what the add-on, it's called the add-on block, is. On my patterns, I just tell you to do so many numbers of whatever color add-on block, and this is what it looks like. So we're going to chain 3. And in the third chain from the hook, we're going to pick up 2 chains. So right here, we're going to yarn over. We're going to pick up that chain, but we're going to make sure we pick up 2 loops. Okay, so here's the 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through the 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through 1 loop. And this is the start of a foundationless double crochet. We're going to finish off the double crochet. So that first step we did was build the bottom part of it, and now we're going to finish the double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That has made our first double crochet. See how this is the chain 2 and that's a double crochet. It's going to continue at a diagonal. So now we're going to yarn over, pick up the 2 chains right here. I should say the 2 loops of this chain at the bottom. Okay, so now we're going to yarn over and pick up the 2 loops of this foundationless double crochet chain we made right here. Insert hook. See how there's that chain? Yarn over, pull through that chain only, because now we're building the bottom of the double crochet again for the next one. Yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over. We're going to finish the double crochet now. Pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We just finished building the second double crochet. Now we're going to do a third one. Yarn over. Again, we're going to look for that chain at the bottom. Insert hook. Yarn over. Pull through 2. Yarn over. Pull through 1 loop. That builds the bottom of the double crochet. Now we're going to finish the double crochet. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now this is the finished add-on block. It might look funny at first, but it's actually going to end up looking the same as the rest of them. And see how it builds up? We're going to make another one just to show you guys that the diagonal using this add-on block can continue. And that's what helps you make a different shape. All right, so again, we're going to chain 3. Yarn over, 3rd chain from the hook, insert your hook, make sure you pick up 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the loop only, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over. We're going to finish the double crochet now. Pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1 double crochet. So it's the chain and 1 double crochet. Yarn over, go down at the bottom here, insert your hook, making sure that we have 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the loops only, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, and finish the double crochet. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're going to do our last double crochet. Yarn over, insert hook at the bottom of the chain here, picking up 2 loops, yarn over, pull through loops only, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, oops, okay, so yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And now you have built a second add-on square. So we have finished that row with the 2 add-on squares. Now you can do the next step, whether it tells you to do the increase block or the decrease block. I'm going to show you guys with an increase block. Again, we just continue and build onto these add-on blocks as if they were just the normal squares that we made or been making. So here we will slip stitch into this space. and make our new block. Like so. Again, we're going to slip stitch into the top right here, the chain space. Like so. See how it looks just like the other blocks? I'm going to continue this row all the way to here. So I made it to the end of the row here, and I've made a new block as if it didn't tell me to slip stitch into the last block here. Okay, so I just made another one, and I just wanted to show you guys how increasing and decreasing can change your work already with the normal C2C, but that the add-on block really builds it up some more. Now I have another block that I call the special add-on block, and the reason for that is if you look at my patterns or graphs, some of the areas you have to work up and then come back around and pivot to make the last block from the previous row. And that's the only way I could figure out how to make the C2C a continuous stitch and then having to just add on a block and turn back around and continue the next row. So here I'm going to do that. I'm going to start this as an increase row, and I'm going to show you guys how it is worked. In my pattern, it'll tell you each time this row starts with a dropped block. So when you have to drop a block, that means you have to come back and make it in the next row, and that's what the special add-on is. So let's say that this row was started stating that you had a dropped block. Okay, so there's supposed to be a block over here. Sorry, over here somewhere. It's easier if I had a graph. I can actually explain that better to you guys with this pattern because you do drop a block here. Okay, so anyway, let's pretend you had to drop a block, and the special add-on block is you come back down the row, and then you'll have to pivot and add on that last block. So I'm going to show you guys how to do the special add-on block, because that one's, I would say, the hardest one out of all of them. So I'm going to start this row with an increase block, and I'll meet you guys over here. All right guys, I made it all the way to the end of the row right here, and now we're going to do what's called a special add-on block. So the special add-on block is like the regular add-on block, except you're going to stop like part of the way and then connect it, and then I'll show you guys how that works. So again, we're going to do chain 3 and foundationless double crochet. So we're going to chain 3. We're going to make 2 foundationless double crochet, yarn over into the 3rd chain, pick up 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the loops only, those first loops, yarn over, pull through 1, and finish the double crochet, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're going to make our 2nd foundationless double crochet. Yarn over, insert hook into the bottom, yarn over, pull through the chain only, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, and finish this double crochet. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, that was our 2nd double crochet. Now we're going to start the 3rd foundationless double crochet. We're only going to start it, so we're going to yarn over, put the hook into the chain, yarn over, pull through the chain only. Okay, yarn over, pull through one loop. You have started that one chain. Now you need to connect it to the piece, because what it is you're pivoting it like this. Okay, so we're gonna slip stitch it. I actually found it easier to just slip stitch it into this chain space, but we're gonna slip stitch it here. Yarn over, pull through the chain space and that loop right here, that first loop. Now you have 3 loops. Okay, now we're going to finish the double crochet. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that has made a new block. This is the special add-on block. I call it the special add-on block because you had to stop and then add it on and attach it. And the reason why you had to drop the block from the previous row is it's how it started. See, you had to start here. You couldn't bring it up there. I have tried to do it with just the regular add-on. It just doesn't look right and it doesn't work the same, the direction of it. So I had to modify it again and make this new technique. And that it'll indicate in my written patterns that you have finished the previous row, okay? But now you have to finish the row that you're currently on. And I tell you, most of the time, so far it seems that you just make a decreased block, okay? So that's the special add-on. Okay, now we're going to do a decrease. So we're going to turn our work, and again, slip stitch through the tops. Okay, now we're going to continue making our block, our decrease block. And we're just going to go into this top chain space. And now you have finished the current row you're on, okay? So this is what it looks like when you have to complete the current row you're actually on. If you're decreasing, which I rarely have so far, have the next step where you're decreasing. But if you're decreasing, this is what you'd have to do. Since you're already down this block, you just make and continue the block. See? And then you just insert your hook here in this technically double crochet space and make your new block like so. And then you continue. Okay, that's if you're told to decrease. I'm going to undo that. So after doing the special add-on block, you finish the current row. And let's say the next row, so that's the current row you've finished. Let's say the next row says to increase. You need to bring this back to the top right here. Okay, so this is how you're going to end. We have to turn our work and slip stitch to the top. Okay, And now you can do your increase row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and make your new block. And continue as if you're working on normal C2C blocks. I'm going to go to the end of the row. So this is what it looks like at the end of the row, guys. As long as you follow those steps, you should be able to build up the pieces. If you follow my instructions on my pattern, sometimes they say special add-on decrease, special add-on decrease. As long as you keep doing that, follow each of those steps, it'll keep building up and you'll be able to finish and make your piece. Now I always indicate in my written patterns special notes if need be, and yeah, that's just how all those blocks work up to be. And this is my favorite part, is the steps to make it freeform, because you can just keep going and make almost anything. I mean, I haven't run into a pattern yet. It's just kind of difficult to write it out for you guys and explain like the steps, but as long as you follow the steps I have showed you on this video, you can make just about any shape. So that's super exciting. Another thing I want to show you guys is, because sometimes like my piece, depending like on the big heart, there's you have to jump so many squares to finish the very last row, and the only way to do that is to just slip stitch down there. So I will show you guys that real quick. So let's say you fastened off and I tell you to skip 5. So for the next row you'll be working like this. So you skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I tell you to skip so many squares and then attach to the next square or whatever the note says. So we're going to make a slip knot, and let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we skip 5 and then we attach into the 6th one, for example. And this is just an example. So yeah, let me show you guys. So we're just gonna, again, I like to go into the chain itself and not the chain 2 space. And we're gonna make a new square. So this one though is kind of like doing a decrease square. So we're gonna do chain 2 and then 3 double crochet. Chain 2, 3 double crochet. And I'm going to do this as the last square, for example. Well, now you're probably wondering why I don't just do that for like the special add-ons. I tried, and just the way it looks, it doesn't look like it goes with the piece, I guess. Like you can tell it's attached more. Also, the whole point is to also just make it a continuous piece. So yeah, that's how it turns out. I hope this tutorial was very helpful for you guys, and that my tips and tricks helped you, with just the C2C technique or freeform in general. I especially love how I've figured out a bit more about, the best way to do color changes for my pieces. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this tutorial. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. and I'll see you guys next time.